Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right, guys. Decent day. Decent day. Actually, was a pretty bullish day because of PPI, and we'll look at that. We'll look at how we were bullish all day, how the trend was bullish, how our bias was bullish all day. So we'll recap all that. Before recapping that, let's just do a quick introduction for anybody who's new to my community, who's new to my Twitter or new to my YouTube channel. All these trade recaps and teachings, guys, are from the trade ideas that I share on Twitter, I share on YouTube, in my previous videos, or mostly anything from our trading communities. Most of these trades, I don't trade all of these, but I guide a lot of these trades, my community live, and I do trade some of the trades which I trade, I share with the community as well. All these setups, whether it's a swing trade, day trade, investment, whatever I do is it's always repeatable setups. Repeatable system. My trading system, thousands of traders across the world use this system consistently to trade, and that's what we use here. Consistent trading system, and we have repeatable setups. We do not trade anything random. We have repeatable setups that we trade again and again and again. Those setups trigger, then we trade them. If those setups do not trigger, we do not trade them. Every morning, me and my team, we make a game plan. We watch upgrades, downgrades, news, earnings, marketplace, IPOs. We make a plan that we can trade today. You can see today's plan. We had spy QQQ on our plan as well. We had lower PPI, which is a positive for rate cut. Then we had Chipotle, Starbucks, one of our main plays, which we nailed today, which we'll talk about. Then we had some other plays like SE, ONO, and a bunch of other plays. Some of these plays will trigger a setup, and some of these plays won't trigger a setup. So based upon that, we trade them. So we'll see what were these plays that we played today and how did they pan out. We'll take a look at them. So that was our main game plan. In addition to the game plan, we all also share what we call as our day 2, day 3 setups. This is a repeatable strategy of trading, day trading or swing trading that I built based upon anything that has news in the previous few days. I did a free webinar for everyone on these day 2, day 3 setups as well. So we share this list based upon the supports and resistance pivot and Ripster EMA Cloud system. We can trade long or short any of these setups. And in addition to that, we also share our daily trade levels. For example, we share support and resistance on SPY, QQQ, IWM, Apple, Microsoft, AMD, Netflix, Boeing, Amazon, Meta, all these names. And we will recap a bunch of these. We'll see how Meta, Tesla, ARM, all of these were, triggered from these long pivots. The rules are provided, how to trade them. So we'll take a look at those as well. And finally, we also have our crypto levels, and we have our low float game plan. We trade low floats if something triggers. CXAI was the number one play from our low floats watch list, which actually triggered. So this can be either short or long, but based upon what we see, what our system tells us, we try to take an trade entry. So we'll recap these as well. So when market opens, I'm on the voice first few hours. The market open, we are not an alert service, but I make sure I guide the community through any trade setups that are coming if I'm long something, or I think something is a long or something is a short. Because my community, because of our continuous teachings and repeatable setups and my recaps, we know that what trade setup, how to take a trade setup, where to take a trade setup, and we do that. Everybody's executing every day on these trades based upon our pre-market preparation, because we are preparing almost an hour before the market open for all the setups and the trades that we will take. So I'm going to recap. I'm going to show you my timestamped comments in the alerts feed where all of my comments are. I would not be able to, of course, show you my voice guidance, but we will go through everything and see what were our winners, and how did we nail them. It was a good day because of it being a trend day. We were able to nail a lot of plays. All right, let's get started. So this morning, right, we had a PPI. So what did PPI tell us? So PPI said PPI growth slowed more than expected on the annual basis in July, latest sign of cooling in inflationary pressures in the world's largest economy. Investors will look at this data set and see if Federal Reserve is going to cut 50 basis point or 25 basis point in the September meeting. And so anyways, so the point was PPI was bullish for the market because it's coming lower. So so that was bullish, and that was our baseline to trade today. And if I see, I posted the same thing here in our game plan. That was our game plan, right? See, if you see here, we talked about lower PPI positive for the rate cut. Check the daily levels. So that's what we were looking at, lower PPI, which is positive for the rate cuts, and market like that, and market was bullish. Now, how did we trade that? So we know that market is going to be bullish because of lower PPI, ideally, right? Nothing is given. So what we do is we watch our concepts. We watch you look at our strategy. First strategy we have is VIX. So we watch our VIX levels. So plan on today was simple. VIX under 20, market will be bullish. VIX over 20, market will be bearish. So that's our first check. Then we look at our Ripster EMA clouds, and then of course we look at our SPY daily charts to see what's going on the daily chart. So I can see that we have more room on the daily chart as well to go. And then of course we have our Ripster EMA clouds right here being tested by the SPY. So we on the daily chart, we know our 20 and 50 EMA are being tested. Many times I've spoken about it, the importance of MTF clouds, multi-time frame EMAs, 20 and 21 EMAs on daily chart, 50 and 50 EMAs on daily chart. So we have that as well, to trade long. Anyways, based upon these concepts and the levels that I gave in the pre-market and our pre-market prep, we were ready to trade SPY QQQ or SPY QQQ calls or the leverage ETFs. We could basically trade anything that we want to trade. I did a free webinar on SPY QQQ as well, how to trade SPY QQQ for living. You can watch that free webinar, or you can join the community and watch that free webinar. So anyways, the resistance was 538, 456, 457. Those was on QQQs. As soon as the market opened, as soon as the market opens, I see that it's a bullish move. I tell everyone you can long scalps. Our initial move is always into 10 a.m. So we trade this initial move. You can see that, right? You can trade the calls. Your calls give you 30-40% from 536.50s to all the way to 538. So that's our initial move. Then SPY starts to pull back at 10 a.m. and it starts to flag, right? So we take our first four profits in 10 a.m. trend time, and when it pulls back, and we see that it reclaims right away. So it reclaims. This is even bullish. I talk about this concept a lot. When it's reclaiming, you get back long. You get back on your bullish long. And we know because it's going to push to the MTF clouds. You have to add closer to the EMAs. Anywhere here you're adding, it's good. Closer to the EMAs. That's your risk when you're trading the 512s. So then if we break out of this flag, you see my flag breakout alert. We're breaking out of this flag, and then we have MTF breakout, which is the daily 20, 21, and 50 EMA breakout. And there's no reason to cut. Yes, you take first profits, but we get back in here. And of course, that's how we are trading Apple, Amazon, Meta. Everything is bullish because of this little action right here and this little flag on QQQs right here. So you see that how SPY is flagging, Q is flagging, right? So that's how you trade it, and that's when I tell everybody hold your runners. SPY still has room, and there was no reason to cut SPY. Maybe you cut SPY here, even then it would never broke under the clouds, and it held it and reclaimed it. So that's why the SPY was long all day, over our pivots. Either it was a morning trade or it's a 10 a.m. flag breakout trade. You could literally make 100% on your calls on SPY and QQQ. Or if you didn't want to trade that, you could trade TQQQ. The leverage ETF went from 61 to 63 bucks, right? You risk 50 cents, you're making $2, risking 500, and you are making $2,000, right? Those kind of trades. And this market move helped us to trade long on the other stocks, Apple, Microsoft, all those. And we will recap those as well, because literally they were pushing over all our pivots that we have for the day, right? 537 was the first pivot on SPY, then 538 area was the second pivot, and we continue to run over those pivots. And that was the plan. And same thing for QQQs, right? QQQs 456s, 457s, and it continued to push, never broke the Ripster EMA cloud. So there was no reason, there was no signal that market is, going to break the trend. So that's how you stay long you trade it long. Either it's a morning trade or it's a this flag breakout trade, and you can see my you know you can see my continuous timestamp guidance here on SPY QQQ and our strategy, right? The strategy was simple today. Strategy on VIX and SPY was simple. We stay long as it's under 20 and there's no reason to cut, and you see how VIX faded, right? If you simply added calls or longs once VIX broke 20, you might have made money all day. You had no reason to get out of the long side and simply stay long all day. This is a beautiful day to make good profits, and because it was a trend day. So anyways, this was SPY QQQ guidance all day, and let's go to the next trade. All right, guys, let's look at our next trades of the day. Let's go to the Chipotle CMG. So let's see what was the plan on CMG. Big news. I talked about this news on Twitter as well, that Starbucks CEO out, Chipotle CEO is in. The big thing to note here was, guys, Chipotle revenue grew up 800% since 2018 and stock went up 600%. So the CEO always gets the credit in whatever it might be. But the CEO Brian Nicole has a good track record, and he took Chipotle to great heights. And we also Starbucks, which has the activist investors involved, like we heard the news a few days ago. So it was definitely going to benefit, and Chipotle was definitely going to sell off because a lot of investors might be in because of the CEO, and when they see CEO leaving, they they think they might won't have the same growth and might not be the same stock, which is irrelevant in the long term. We don't know what happens. Maybe a better CEO comes, but short term, which this gives us opportunities, right? So that was the plan on Chipotle. Our plan on Chipotle was neutral to bearish bias. You can see the pre-market plan. Only long if it pushes over the cloud, otherwise short it. 51.30, 50 was our support levels, resistance was 53. So as soon as I market opened, I told that short it versus 512 has to break 50 to confirm. So keep starter till that, don't chase, hit pops. And anyways, after that 50 break, Chipotle continued to fade, and my target was 47.80 and 48. So we got a $2 short. Even if you hit 50, if you hit earlier, you got a much better short, much better entry right at the open. And Chipotle went on to fade for more than $2 for us. And 48, we saw a big buyer. That's where we covered most, and we finally exited everything when it started to make higher lows. And that was our short on Chipotle. And now when Chipotle started to curl here at 512s, that's when I told everyone it's a 512 curl setup. Stops should be 49.75, or you can move up to 50. And from that curl at $50, Chipotle went on to go over to 52. So you see that how it was a $2 short and $2 long, more than $2 short. All the timestamp guidance is right here. You can pause the screen and read it. Beautiful trade, nice win in the community, Chipotle. All right, let's look at Starbucks now. I was personally not trading Starbucks. I couldn't find, because I couldn't find a good entry. But a lot of the traders in community were trading it, and so I guided my community for the long side. So the plan in the pre-market was bullish to neutral, but little extended. So watch for the pullback or a 512 pullback, breakout over the pre-market highs for the long setup. And the problem with my problem was with the Starbucks was it was there was not a constant level here. It was up higher lows. So on the 10, so I had to go to like a 3-minute chart to see the this levels. Even the 3-minute chart was going up right at open, right? But of course you could trade the lotos, you could risk the opening low of the candles, you could risk the you could risk this 90 area, and you could trade with that, and it was okay. The target I gave, the target to everyone, was 95, and Starbucks pushed from the opening price of 91 all the way to 93. 94 was my first target, then it finally hit my 95 targets. So there was enough money to be made, at least $3 per share on the Starbucks from this opening long idea, right? And I did tell a lot of traders to hold it as a swing, because this might be a turning point for Starbucks. You know, um, because of the new CEO. It's already gapping up. I think, yeah, I told everybody to swing the rest, because you see that you have to make a judgment call. Starbucks never really gave up this level. So it never really broke the trend. You see, you have to look at the support. Don't just look at the EMAs. There was a candle support here, right? And you see it never, clearly there was a buyer here. So you can always keep the runners, especially because it's over your buy price. And then this is the midday setup. This was a midday setup. This was a midday setup that I often cover in my recaps and webinars and previous trade setups. And it was a nice trade again from this area back up to the highs. Nice winner for us in the community. So let's look at the next one. Next one is one of my favorites, because it's also, our, it's one of our long-term picks by me in our community. We have been a big fan of, this SE, and we picked up back at, let me see, where did we pick it up? So we had picked up SCE back at, let me show you actually. Let's see if I can find that. So SC was back in the January. It was our long-term play, which we picked at 37 bucks. And always it has made us money, right? Always it has made us money, because we closed half, and it was more than 100% gain for us. It did touch. So just like this company, because this has been a previous big runner, rate cut play. So anyways, today we talked about the day trades. So SC, let's see. So I told everyone SC is a long, and if you want to see the pre-market recap, bullish bias to long the cloud pullback, 66.50, 65, 70 was the breakout, and once you see that 70 breaking out, it's a long, right? No question about it. It's a long, and my target was 75, and we were flagging at 10 a.m. You see that 10 a.m. flag alert. We break the flag, and then we continue to push as well towards our 75 target. So SC was another beautiful winner. We have to watch it now. If we break this 77, we're gonna get a day 2, day 3 setup on SC. So let's watch this tomorrow, 75s and 77s. Next one we're going to look at is our Tesla. So Tesla was also a long. You can see the timestamp guidance. I mean, I don't even have to tell this to my community. They already know market is bullish, pivots are breaking. I give them these pivots in the pre-market, 198, 200 as a resistance pivot. So as soon as you see the strength right from the 1 hour clouds breaking over 200, I gave the stops, 198 your stop, you get long, $2 stops, it hits 208, right? So that's how you risk $2, and that's assuming you added here. But even if you didn't hold all the way, which you should scale out on the way. As long as 512 doesn't break, there's no reason to cut, right? Yes, you might have cut here, but you see that there's a support here. Then you have to look at the support. And these are the midday setups, right? These are the midday setups. This Tesla setup is the midday setup. You see how it's holding this level. So these are the midday trade setups that we talk about. So anyways, here's all timestamp guidance on Tesla as well. Nice win in the community. All the levels provided in the pre-market. I try to guide my community as well. Beautiful trade, big winner. All right. So next one I'm going to look at is you. So you has been on my watch from some time. Recently, it's been my watch on day 2, day 3 setup. I think I had it in my day 2 list as well. You see that 1495 and 1530. And these are the smaller stocks. I even tweeted about it, that how the smaller stocks, when there's a rate cut chatter, they make the move. So you was making move today, right? UPST was making move today. PLTR was making move today, right? So, but I found you more interesting, or more better for the trade setup, because it was breaking out of that key 15 level. It's breaking out of MTF daily clouds, is holding the MTF 1 hour chart, and it's just pushing. So that's why as soon as I see it, although a lot of traders are supposed to be in already, I tell them it's a long, right? Even after my mention, even after that, it went on to push from $1, from 1560 to 1663. So that was also not a bad trade in the community today. There are so many opportunities. I mean, I try to tell what I see, what is working, but the traders in the community had to focus on their entries, what entries they can take. I show every day how these trade setups are working. If you just want to have confidence in this, just take 1 share, 2 shares, who cares? Practice. See if you can hold the 2 shares all the way, right? How much do you make on 2 shares, right? If you took 2 shares, you would have made, $1, and that's fine. You just want to see if it works or not. It's not about the money. It's about, are you able to execute? Yeah. Rest of our trades which were working, we're going to first look at NVDA. I'm going to go a little fast here. You see NVIDIA is breaking out of the MTF clouds, and the level that I gave on NVIDIA in the pre-market was simply 116 and 113.40, right? So once 113.40 is gone, it's a long, right? If you don't want a long here, that's fine. You long here and your risk is right here. And I did talk about NVIDIA in the community as well, that we are breaking out of the MTF clouds, and I gave the targets 115, 116, and was a beautiful trade. That was NVIDIA. The another semiconductor that I really liked today was AVGO. Reason being, AVGO has this nice, I drew this chart only yesterday and today. See, it's breaking out of the channel, and then it's breaking out of the MTF daily 50 EMS. This is the importance of daily 50 EMS. I repeat it because it's so important. It's going to make you money, right? So look at AVGO, breaking out of that 50, similar to NVIDIA and AVGO, both are breaking out of that 50 EMA on daily chart. Forget MTF clouds, focus on the daily 50 EMA. If you want to focus on something, importance of daily 50 EMA. So those were the long trades versus the EMAs. And few of other setups which were going today. We had Microsoft, which was a solid one, because Microsoft just has so much room, and you see that it's just mimicking the move of SPY, right? It's just mimicking the SPY. The trade came up on the Microsoft later, so Microsoft was good. So the other one which was really solid was similar was Apple, because when SPY QQQ is going, you could trade either any of those. Look at our pivot breaks, look at the levels that we are breaking here on Apple, 219, 2951, and it's a good setup. So very proud of that community. All day traders were trading these trades. Thousands of traders, 1,000+ traders in the community going through each setup. You can see how everybody's Mohammed was trading Microsoft, and then we also had Meta. So let's look at Meta. So Meta was again same setup. This flag, you wait for this flag. I talked about how Meta is flagging. I told everybody, even in the midday, you see this 11 a.m. That's when I told it, Meta midday flag break, midday flag. So I try to tell my community, what are we looking at, so that we can take that opportunity. And you see how after my midday flag, the Meta went on from 525.4 to all the way to 530, right? So you could see that how these setups work. When it's a bullish day, you need to make use of that, right? So let's talk about I've been talking about all these individual names, but SOXL, which was a great long as well today. SOXL is the ETF, leverage ETF, which covers all these all these semiconductors. So I had given a swing in the community. I also gave a swing here in the Twitter. You see that 28, 30 important levels. Next day it pulled back. I added 30s. The stops were 28s, and you see that gradual push up. And by end of the day, SOXL is up. Our swing is up. It's up like, let's see. Yeah, it's up 17% for us already there, right? So swing is up beautifully. And then we also have SMCI swing. So that swing is enough to, recently I launched a separate platform to talk about the swings for SMCI, SOXL, and doing good. So we'll see. Not exposed to too many swings because of CPI tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Let's look at the next setup. That was our low float setup. The low float setup today was CXAI. One of the main setup, the support was 220, resistance was 260, 290. CXAI was the great trade in the morning because it was this this setup. I think I shared it on Twitter. Like, well, we can just recap there. Let's go back here. If I show you the low floor setup on CXAI, let's see. All right, so let's check it out, right? So I gave those levels. You see the levels I gave in the morning, 220, 260, and Ripster EMA Cloud System. If you don't know that, you have to go to my Ripster education, you study my low floor system, or you can come in the community, watch my webinar on low floors. All the clouds are being held, so we clearly know that's our risk level. So we wait for these pullbacks to 3450. We add that reclaim of 512 flag. Anywhere you enter here, this is your risk. You know, you're risking like 20, 30 cents here. And this is a flag setup. And then this is the two possible breakouts, this breakout and this breakout. That's what we are looking at. And then we get this breakout. We are already green. Then we get this breakout, and then we push towards 375. Ultimate target was 4. So you're just risking 20, 30 cents, and you're making $1. That's a great trade. You're risking, $300, and you're making $1,200, $1,300. That's how you consistently trade for living. That's how you really win. That's how we do these repeatable winning setups day in and day out, right? So those were some of our setups today, guys, and and I think that's enough for today. Just wanted to cover these. Definitely a great day in the community for us. Snow was another good one. We can take a look at it. Snow was bullish to neutral versus 120 to 880, right? 120 to 80. So snow pulled back, held, pushed over the clouds and broke out. And it was a long all day, and then it breaks this MTF cloud, right? So snow was another nice winner for us in the community. Really nice one. Anyways, guys, that's all it for today. Hopefully you guys have a good day. Tomorrow is going to be good. You want to trade with us, CPI, join the community. Take care. Do not come for the alerts. We're not alert service. I will guide you. I will teach you the setups and make you a consistent trader and make sure you do not lose your money, right? I don't promise making people crazy amount of money. I promise that I will make sure you don't lose, okay? Anyways, take care. Bye-bye. Later.